And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, do you remember way back? I think it was like February or March when look on your screen, and we were covering Tom Homan, and there was this screaming and shouting guy. He was protesting Tom Homan as Homan went in to give a speech. And he's jumping around screaming and shouting. And I'm like, who the heck is this guy? And the next thing you know, I see that he is a candidate for mayor in New York City. There he is. There he is being pushed back. He's a candidate for mayor. I'm like, oh my gosh. Look at this guy. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, just let anybody run for mayor. Fast forward to November and oops, this guy is going to be your next New York City mayor. But, you know, he made a lot of promises, y'all. He made a lot of promises. And, you know, I think right now young people are having their hippie moment. I think young people are having their hippie moment, their ideological moment. And I think some of the older people who were hippies are like reliving their hippie moment. So you kind of have a younger hippie moment, and then the older people who are reminiscing back when they were young ideological people. And you have this confluence of how do we call it? Belief in things that could not be. Today, I'm going to make the case, y'all, that people are waking up to the fact that, yeah, we got a new one. Zohran Mamdani, he's not going to be able to do the things he said. Principal reason among them is that the state's governor is not down with his program. So she is a savvy politician, and she knows she shouldn't just come out and say, the guy's off his rocker. So she's trying to walk that fine line, but she understands that many of his programs are not workable. And why is that? Because she's not going with them, and he needs her permission. And in fact, he needs not only her approval, but approval on the state level. Remember, he's just the mayor-elect of New York City. He can't do this stuff that he's promising to do, y'all. So today we're going to talk about some of his primary promises and why he cannot achieve these things even if he wanted to, y'all. So first we're going to take a look at how Hochul says she's not raising taxes. And then we're going to look at some of Mamdani's promises and see that without new taxes, he can't get these things done. But before we do, y'all, we are launching our official Patreon. So if you want to be a founding member on our Patreon, we have just 222 slots, y'all. If you want to be a founding member, go down, click the very first link in the description, and you're going to feel good about this, y'all, because believe it or not, we are an actual paralegal school, and we help people get their paralegal certificate and get working in the paralegal field. And all of the proceeds from our Patreon, when you enroll as a founding member, all of that is going to go to scholarships for people who would like to study at our institute, y'all. So click that first link down in the description. Join us as a founding member, y'all. This deal will not come back. Now let's get into the story.
His agenda is incredibly ambitious. It is, as he has described it, a democratic socialist agenda. Free childcare, free buses, rent freeze, the list goes on. I talked to him on Monday night. He said to me he hasn't wavered 1 millimeter on raising taxes on New York City's wealthiest residents to pay for some of that. Now, Governor, you have said repeatedly that you would not raise taxes. You said, quote, I've said there's no new income taxes. Do you stand by that promise?
Yes. Again, what I find so fascinating is all this conversation about how I'm continuing to lead New York State. I'm the one putting money back in people's pockets and cutting middle-class taxes, as I've done, and finding ways to support childcare. These are areas where I'm aligned with Zohran Mamdani. And we'll work on this and build more housing so people can have a roof over their heads in New York City.
So let's talk briefly about 5 of Mamdani's top campaign promises and whether he can even do these things unless he has the approval of the state legislature and or the governor. So the first thing he said is city-run grocery stores. Now, this is one of the few things that he could try to implement, perhaps with just his city council. Okay, just the New York City Council. So he's still going to need approval from somebody. He can't just, sign a piece of paper, but he could try to implement the city-run grocery stores. Now, what about his free bus program? Nope, that's under state control. So he might be able to provide certain routes for free, but he could not provide all city buses free of charge. So he already gets a big X on that one. He cannot provide the free bus program unless he has state approval. What about a rent freeze in New York City? Nope, he can't do that either. So that's another thing he promised to do that he can't do. He would need approval and buy-in from the state legislature and governor to get that done. Now, he may be able to control the rent freeze on certain city-owned or city-subsidized housing units, but not a general rent freeze. Now, what about expanding city-funded childcare centers? Now, the problem with this is he's probably going to need to raise new taxes to do this. But we just saw Hochul say she's not down with raising taxes. So while he may be able, if he had the money, to do something like expanding city-fund childcare centers, if he can't raise the taxes, where's he going to get the money? See, that's the problem. So with Hochul saying she's not down with raising taxes, many of these programs that Mamdani wants to implement, he won't be able to because he can't just unilaterally raise the taxes himself. And finally, he's talking about raising the minimum wage to $30 an hour again. This is something that the New York City mayor cannot do. This is something that the state legislature would have to do with the approval of the governor, okay? So much of what Mamdani is saying he's going to do, he's not going to be able to do unless Hochul's down with him. And Hochul does not seem to be down with him. Again, she's a politician. She knows this guy has a lot of support. She knows that he's a slick talker. So she's not coming right out and saying, as a matter of fact, she used his popularity to boost her own profile, but she's not down with his programs, y'all. As you can see here where she answers reporters' questions about him and his tax-raising ways.
I'm from Buffalo. We don't put up a lot of crap. So I just want to set the stage that, you know, you look at the history of people who've run multi-million-dollar ad campaigns to try and get me to change my position. I don't change my position. So I just want to put it out there. I respect people's opinions. I respect the proper place to convey them. And so I've said to people, I hear you. And that was important. But also, there's a time and place. And so that's all on that. No, I've had conversations on this trip, but many conversations, I'd say over the summer and the fall, that were important, that led to an understanding of what's in the realm of possibility, shared ambitions, but what is doable is the question. And so, no, we're aligned on so many of these issues. You know, I've made it clear where I have strong disagreements with issues that really do not pertain to, you know, the governance of New York City. I've said you need to get a police commissioner that people trust, who has a record of accomplishment to keep the trajectory that we're on right now, which is crime is going down. Crime is going down significantly. You don't say mission accomplished, but that is a great trend. So him agreeing with that assessment, that recommendation to keep Jessica Tisch, was an important statement on many fronts. So I'm looking forward to, you know, him having our teams keep a lot of conversations with our teams. We said we'd be talking, you know, actually I'm meeting him very soon to talk about our response if there is a surge of ICE agents and National Guard that do come, perhaps after his inauguration, and how we can be proactive in preventing that from happening. And that's the state I'm in right now, prevent that from happening. So we've had a lot of conversations. So no, I think there's a mutual respect. And that's gonna, I think, only grow deeper.
So yeah, y'all, as we've been seeing on this B-roll, he's good at running his mouth, as so many of these politicians are. Just like your butt, you know, the illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor of Chicago. Like, people are good at running their mouths, y'all. Like, I should be a politician. I'm good at running my mouth too, but you know what? I don't know how to solve these problems. People shouldn't vote for me, just like they shouldn't have voted for him. So y'all, let me know down in the comments, do you think he's gonna be a huge bust, or do you think he's gonna have so much support and so much personality that he's gonna cause the state legislature and the governor to bend to his will and do things the way he wants it to be done? Let me know what y'all think's gonna happen. Y'all drop a comment down below. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button, Share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all of your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. Y'all check out our Patreon. It's the first link down in the description. We would love to have your support, just $9 a month. And you'll be supporting people who want to get into the legal field because all of the proceeds go to scholarships for those people, y'all. Want to thank y'all for watching. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.